The National Trust of Australia, Queensland has a proud association with Cooktown, far north Queensland. Nearly 50 years ago, Her Majesty the Queen opened the James Cook Museum. And in 2020, we have the opportunity for a modern act of reconciliation.
So the James Cook Museum, while it may be considered a cabinet of curiosities, with wonderful objects that are very specific to this place, they're not particularly accessible. The stories that they can help articulate are not well told in our current layout, and the opportunity we have here is to make a more dynamic and engaging experience for our 20 to 30,000 visitors a year.
There's many good stories around the Cooktown area that have never been heard of. A story of humanity of our people when they met with Captain Cook. And the humanity leads back to where our people, led lost sailors back to Endeavour. They instigated 8 meetings with Captain Cook. Captain Cook didn't instigate that, it was the Indigenous people. But it was that understanding from both different cultures that made that ground zero for the birth of Australia.
Now that we're in this position in 2018 with the slight decay of the building that needs maintenance, I think the National Trust has really realised that there's some significant opportunities to get in to not only repair those issues and deal with them for the longevity of the facility, but also to actually come in and now start looking at what else we could be doing on the property.
Yeah, it's really important to have a dialogue with local community in any Indigenous community and even more broadly when you're working with any community group to provide a means for people to participate is a project in and of itself, and it's important because it gives people kind of authorship over a place, it gives people a sense of belonging over that place. And that's really important in Indigenous communities. So coming up here marks the start of just facilitating a yarn, really, facilitating the start of a conversation, a dialogue with local people up here around their ideas around reimagining this beautiful old building and its grounds and its place in broader Cooktown.
It's vitally important because, we've been working hard to mend this country. Trying to understand the very fabric of who we are as a people, as Australians. In order to do that, we've got to find out who we are.
There's an exciting potential of the James Cook Museum in collaborating with community across Indigenous First Peoples and getting their stories amplified, so when we arrive at the museum, it is first about place and people, not about objects and European settlement.
There seems to be a disjuncture between the narratives, and this is happening all over Australia, and this is not unique to this situation, but that we were coming up to say we want to hear the Aboriginal narrative and how a space like this might be totally reimagined so that it is based on that, and then there's pre, during and post-Cook days.
So now that we've been looking more at reconnecting into the community or furthering from the site, we've really realised that there's some significant opportunities in a particular ley line that runs along Furneaux Street that connects in the east to the Botanic Gardens, and then to the west it goes down the road and comes across a very important place called Reconciliation Rocks.
Reconciliation Rocks is a place that should be important to all Australians. It's a place where the first act of reconciliation happened between the Barma and the Europeans. We're working on having this significance recognised through listing on the National Heritage List, so the place can be important for all Australians.
Reconciliation Rocks represents a very important story to Australia, and something that we would really like to see come through to the museum and be engaged with fully throughout the whole museum, not just as a simple story in the top corner of the museum, but actually to integrate fully through the whole of the complex.
The James Cook Museum needs a lot of work, but it's the pedestal. It's a pedestal for both cultures to unite in a way that Australia hasn't united since 1770.
The mission of the National Trust is to protect, to conserve and to celebrate our environmental, our built and our cultural history And here in Cooktown we have a marvellous opportunity to really emphasise all three parts of our mission.
No matter what, when people come to this space, local people want to feel like they're being taken on an Aboriginal-led narrative. A narrative that Cook is a part of, but Cook is not necessarily the centre of.
This could be the nucleus for other places to take notice of what can be achieved for the grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Otherwise, what we achieved so far in 248 years will be lost. We haven't got enough time to start again.
The vision for the museum in 2020 is that it's a space where the whole community is fully engaged, that they feel they've been invited in to tell their stories of the Barma people and look forward to the future of Cooktown. We want to make sure that this is a place which is recognised with two cultures and a shared history that we're all proud of.
And the Natural Trust is in a perfect position to offer us an ongoing keeping place where these cultures reside side by side as you should be in this nation.